Hi, this is Joe again with another movie review. This time I'm going to be discussing the City Slickers movies. We of course starred, Billy Crystal and Daniel Stern for both films. In the original film, of course, you also had Bruno Kirby. The sequel, you had John Lovitz, and of course, both movies you had Jack Palance in both films. But I'm also going to be discussing the first film because the second movie was just terrible. It was a terrible movie and a terrible sequel. But we'll mostly be focusing on the first film. When the first movie came out in 1991, of course, like I said, it starred Billy Crystal, Daniel Stern, Bruno Kirby. Of course, co-starred with Billy Crystal and Harry Mazzali, which I previously did in a previous video. And also starred Jack Palance, Helen Slater, of course, who infamously played Supergirl. Plus some other great character actors like David Paymer, who later on co-starred with Billy Crystal in Mr. Saturday Night. And of course, and you had and you also had Patricia Wenning play Billy Crystal's wife in both films. Well, like I said, the first was in 1991, and that kind of broke the trend of the chick flicks. The time the City Slickers came out, it was the first time you ever had a movie written by guys from the guy's perspective. Usually, because just about every other movie is from the woman's perspective, so to draw that crowd, women to the movies. This time, it's from the guy's point of view throughout the whole film. And it's about like I said, the three main characters: Bruno Kirby, Daniel Stern, and Billy Crystal, plays three friends who go on these crazy adventures, crazy vacations together. And the movie starts off with them in Spain with the running of the bulls. Then about approximately a year goes by, and it happens to be Billy Crystal's 39th birthday. And at his birthday party, he's all bummed out because he's now 39. He used to be successful at his job, but suddenly time on radio. He was working for a radio station, and his job was to sell commercial time for advertising. But he used to get lousy. Now all of a sudden he wasn't as good as his job anymore. And his boss, favorite Jeffrey Tambor, says, "Look, I'm going to have to approve of every deal you make until you come back on your feet." And then, of course, later on that night, he had his birthday party. And of course, he gets bummed out and he says, "Look, I want to go with my wife to see her parents down in Florida for my vacation." And he said, "Yeah, and Daniel Stern's character was supposed to work in a supermarket. He says, "Look, I worked every weekend for a year to help pay for this trip." He said, "I'm sorry, I can't do it." And then after that, Daniel Stern was caught cheating on his wife. Because the girl who was cheating with, who was a cashier at the supermarket, comes in. And of course, for all you fans out there who are fans of the Simpsons television show, the girl who Daniel Stern was fooling around with, what is the girl or the woman who provides the voice of Lisa Simpson. By trivia, and you can recognize her voice, instantly, because it's exactly the same voice. Because she didn't disguise her voice to play Lisa Simpson, or to provide the voice of Lisa Simpson on The Simpsons. And of course, the wife finds out, and actually, of course, now going to go through a divorce. So he's bummed out. The only one who really isn't all that bummed out was the Bruno Kirby character. And then he finds out that he wants to have, or that his wife is maybe a underwear model, and she wants to have kids. And he was a little leery. But his problem was he was a little leery by having kids because it's a real commitment to Kim. And if he does have kids, then he kills his ambition of fooling him out on her. I don't want to fool him out on her if we have kids. Excuse me. So after all that, Billy Crystal's wife suggests to go on the trip anyway. So they go on this trip to the cattle drive to drive cattle from New Mexico to Colorado. It would take about like 2 weeks, and the trail boss was played by Jack Palance. It's kind of like a takeoff of his character in the movie Shane, because he was in the movie Shane. But to me, for Jack Palance, he's only be known for like 3 things, in my opinion. One, the host of a television show from the late 70s and early 80s called Ripley's Believe It or Not. We're playing Carl Grissom in Tim Burton's 1989 Batman film, and City Slickers. And also he was in a 2-part episode of the Buck Rogers television show. So that's the only thing that, to me, that Jack Palance is known for. And of course, if you look close, you can see one of the actors who's also supposed to help with the cattle drive was on the television show Homicide. So, you can look for that. And Jack Palance was such an over-the-top character. I mean, he scared the hell out of everybody in that film. He's going to be like this tough old, cowboy, and it's scared Billy Crystal to death in this film. And of course, during the film, he of course goes out for some strays, which was cows that ran off during a stampede caused by Billy Crystal. I'm not going to say how he caused the stampede, in case some of you haven't seen the film. And of course, they go out together and kind of like a rip-off of the Phil Lynn's Yogi Bear incident in 1964. Billy Crystal is playing this harmonica, and Jack Palance says knock it off, and he would knock it off, or Billy Crystal would knock it off. And he says, I'm on vacation. If you want to kill me, get it over with. I don't care because I'm on vacation. And of course got a big laugh. And of course he never does it. And it became, a bye. Of course the theme of the movie was that Jack Palance gave him advice. And so you deal with a lot of shit, don't you? It's a city slick. You city folk deal with a lot of crap. And he says, well, you guys have to worry about one thing. Is remaining alive. He said, what's that? I said, you have to worry about this. Your finger? They said, no, one thing. That's one thing. Let's work on that, and everything else don't mean shit. And of course, it's different for everybody. This one thing. And that was, of course, the theme of the film. And of course, Billy Crystal gets out of his midlife crisis. And luckily everything's going to be okay. And of course the fight, and of course Daniel Stearns looks like he's going to be alright, and so will the Bruno Kirby character at the end of the film. But of course there's a couple of highlights. The highlights when they're talking about baseball, when Daniel Stearns says, yeah, it's silly to be talking about baseball all the time. To the Helen Slater character, because she got disgusted with that. The former boyfriend was a baseball fan, encyclopedia. Then he says, yeah, it's kind of silly. But when I was 18, I couldn't talk to my father about anything. The only thing that we could talk about was baseball. That's it. And of course, the other highlight in the film was when the three main characters talking about what was the best day and the worst day. And of course, and Billy Crystal told what was actually a true story was that he went to his first baseball game where his father told him to keep score, and Mickey Mantle hit a home run in Yankee Stadium. And of course, that's one of the disputes of the movie, because the biggest complaint about the first City Slickers film was the fact that Billy Crystal is, in fact, in reality, a die-hard New York Yankees fan. Been a Yankee fan his entire life. And he did direct the movie that I reviewed previously, movie 61, which he directed. So people ask for, especially when the time that the 61 movie came out, and over the years even before then, up to this day, why do you wear, if you're such a die-hard Yankee fan, why are you wearing a stupid Met hat in the City Slicker movies. And well, the answer, is a truthful answer. He says, well, because at that time, like I think they still have it now. They have a comedy show for the homeless called Comic Relief. With himself, with Billy Crystal, Robert Williams, and Whoopi Goldberg host this show called Comic Relief. Because to raise money to help the homeless. And of course, we're going around to team, as mostly based here in New York, the Comic Relief shows. At that time, and when they said the time the movies were being made, and so they went to the Yankees. The Yankees didn't cough up any money, and didn't donate money. I'm not 100% sure they donated money or not, but I think they donated something. But they didn't bother with the Comic Relief thing at that time, but the Mets did. Excuse me. And the Mets donated a bunch of money for the charity. And also, of course, there was also a famous clip with Robert Williams and Billy Crystal in the booth of Shea Stadium, I think in 1989, 88 or 89, when Billy Crystal literally got hit in the head with a foul ball during the 1 inning during making. The thing with the Mets Cincinnati game, and Cameron Elster was the shortstop of the Mets at that time, hit a foul ball into the TV booth. And the ball literally hit Billy Crystal in the head. I'm not making this up. I don't know if this clip is ever on YouTube or not. But because of that clip, and because the Mets donated a bunch of money to the Mets, to the Comic Relief charity, Billy Crystal says to owe to the Mets, he decided to wear a Mets hat in City Slickers. That's the reason why Billy Crystal was wearing a Met hat in the film. But that's your question. The film was very successful. As a matter of fact, Jack Palance ended up winning an Academy Award for his role in City Slickers. So about a couple years later, like 2 or 3 years later, they made a sequel, which is a waste of time to even see. And in between the years of the two films, the two City Slicker films, pretty much the whole cast from the original film came back for the sequel. The majority of them, at least the main characters, and some of the supporting characters from the first film, especially the ones that were involved with the cattle drive, were back in the second film. I know I'm not giving something away. I don't want to give a whole lot. But the only one who didn't come back was Bruno Kirby. The reason why he didn't come back is because of the fact that he had a fight, some kind of an argument with Billy Crystal. I don't know over what. Maybe he didn't like some of the dialogue was in the original film, which you really can't blame him for. But I don't know what the exact reason was, but they had an argument, and they did, and so he decided not to do the second movie, and he never did another movie with Billy Crystal after that. And he died. I think he died like approximately almost 10 years ago, something like that. He died of a heart attack when he was 50 years old. So he never. I don't know if they ever made peace with each other. I have no idea, but that's why Bruno Kirby was not in the sequel, and John Lovitz was. He's supposed to be playing Billy Crystal's brother. And not only that, but he brought back Jack Palance. Now, if you've seen the first film, Jack Palance's character dies in the first film. So the only why would they bring back a guy who's dead? I mean, what is it, a soap opera? To bring back guys who died in previous films. Well, the way they got around that is that they rolled in the fact that he was Curly's identical twin brother. And what they did was they were looking for this gold, or Curly had this, map to find a golden boot or something. And so Bruno Kirby, John Lovitz, Stan Houston, and Billy Crystal go on and does it, and they lie through the teeth. Everybody, they go look for this gold. and they found out that it was another venture that another idea that Curly had with the other people who were the owners of the cattle drive place. And he went to the previous film. So, no spoiler. But the movie was such a waste of time. The second film, the second film was just awful. It wasn't funny. No, excuse me. The only thing that was funny about the second film, because in the first film, when Curly and Billy Crystal's character was alone, trying to pick up some stray cattle that ran off in the stampede scene, one of the cows gave birth, and Billy Crystal kept the cow. It was a bull named Norman, named the Norman, and he kept the bull. And for the beginning of the second film, he was jogging with Norman. It was the only big fight scene, man. Other than that, you had another scene where John Lovitz says to Billy Crystal, "I think there's something wrong with your cow." He says, "What do you mean?" He said, "Because I tried to milk it, yank it, and pull it, trying to milk the cow, and nothing came out. No milk came out." So Billy Crystal says to him, the cow's name is Norman. Duh. There was only two real funny moments in the second film, and that happens pretty early in the movie. And the rest of the movie was just a waste. It's a good thing that Bruno Kirby decided not to do this movie because it was a waste of time. It was a terrible film. That's my review of the City Slicker films. Please like the video, please comment on, please share it on your Facebook pages, and please subscribe to my channel. And thanks for watching.